Hola, welcome back. I'm John Stark from ActiveMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. And this is City of God, The Fight Rages On, which is available on Max with audio description. It's officially an HBO Latino show. I don't know if that means it doesn't air on HBO and it only airs on HBO and Latino. It doesn't really matter because if you have Max, it goes to Max, where it has audio description. So look at that. And for my blind audience today, I am wearing a black baseball cap. It's turned backwards, black sunglasses, and I have a Home Alone t-shirt in because what says City of God more than Kevin McAllister, really, when you think about it? When you're trying to think of Fernando Meriielles' sort of iconic international feature, what aligns with that better? Obviously, I just wear random shirts sometimes when I have nothing that matches. I have nothing that would make sense for City of God, but I have pop culture shirts, so this is where we're at in life. Um, so 20 years ago, there was City of God. I was like, 20 years? It's really been 20 years? Damn. Uh, Fernando Meriielles' sort of classic, iconic. I think it's in the IMDb top 250. Usually is. It's hard to tell with IMDb top 250. Those are a fickle bunch over there at IMDb, always like shifting things around. Although Shawshank will always stay up near the top, I think, at this point. I don't think it's really ever going to move too far away from the number one spot. But this is, largely considered to be a film classic, an essential international film for you to watch. So if you haven't seen City of God, uh, well, you're fucked because I haven't found it ever with audio description. So if you find it with audio description, English audio description, go for it. Get all over that. If you happen to speak, I don't want to say Spanish because it's Brazil, so it's to be Brazilian Portuguese because the city of God is Rio de Janeiro, which is in Brazil. So it should be Portuguese. I'm thinking. Question mark. Um, yeah. So if you happen to speak the language and you find the audio description in the original language, that's probably more likely. In which case, kudos to you for being bilingual. You are already winning. You're winning the race, winning the game. So this show has some of the original cast. I would say noticeably absent is Alicia Braga, which I think is hilarious that probably the most famous cast member from City of God is not back. And it's like, dude, you couldn't get Alicia Braga back? What is the point? Like, was she too big for the show? I also don't like the fact that Fernando Meriielles is just producing this instead of directing, because it's like, so he'll direct Sugar for Apple Plus, but he doesn't really want anything to do with this. And those are sort of like indicators to me where it's like, why are we doing this show? Why does this show exist? What caused this show to go into production? Why is this here? And I thought it was so hilarious because I clicked on it earlier thinking, I was like, wow, we made a sequel to City of God. I didn't realize it was a TV show. And Max had a little thing, and I didn't realize it was just a trailer. I was like, what is this? It's like, what happened here? And they made a sequel series to City of God, but they made it like 20 years. Why? I don't know why this exists. It doesn't need to. It doesn't need to be here. I watched it. I can't say that it offers anything of value. It's weird. It's like when you take a film that's a classic and then you just try to make sequels to it. There's so many instances where this happens, and then you just go, well, the sequels are just not the original. Even if you like them, they're not. Pick a franchise, pick a classic, and then start going through the sequels. There are very few times. Godfather is like an exception. But like Psycho, like we beat that franchise to death. Jaws, it's like both the first films in those franchises are iconic. None of the sequels are. The Exorcist, there's so many instances where it's like, yeah, the first one was a banger, but my God, don't make more. Um, it doesn't always pay off. And now I guess we're, because of the legacy sequels becoming popular, somebody was like, an older thing that we could make? Oh, well, how about City of God? And then somebody said yes to that. They were like, yeah, because our Latino population, they need a show to watch. And it's like, but this is the show they need? I have a feeling probably not. I'm not sure really this, I don't think anybody was asking for this. Is it bad? Uh, Not really, but it's also just, it's not, it's like Jaws 2, man. It's just, Jaws 2 wasn't terrible. Just didn't need to happen. Like, I don't think anybody's like, man, Jaws 2 is like the worst film I've ever seen in my life. Because they kind of saved that for Jaws the Revenge by the time we get around to the fourth film. I love Michael Caine's quote on that, where I haven't seen the movie, but I have seen the house that I bought with the money from being in the movie. Um, yeah, he basically openly admits, he's like, yeah, that was a nice paycheck. I have no idea what that movie's like, but I have a home because of it. So, um, maybe that's this. I don't know, but yeah, it picks up with Rocket giving the narrative again, uh, picking up, and he's like, "Well, this is where we are now, and this is my job. This is what." Kind of like he a little fast forward through City of God, to be like, "Well, this is what life used to be like." I kind of feel like when you're doing this, your audience is somewhat limited to begin with, because I don't know that City of God was a box office smash. You're kind of making a sequel to a film for film nerds, and I don't know that they're necessarily going to be drawn to a series. So I don't know how many people are really into City of God to begin with, to where you can just pick up where you left off. You know what I'm saying? Where you can just take these characters 20 years later. I probably would have taken the first episode and done a lot more recapping of like where things are now. Where were we? Let's dive into the history. Let's bring it back in. Assume people have not seen the first movie, and let's tie it in, instead of Rocket spending maybe like the first 3 minutes being like, well, this is how life used to be, but this is where life is now. And I was like, okay, well, that's a very brief description of time. And so like you pick up on characters. There's a character that's been in jail, and he's just now getting out of jail, and you're like, for what? You're like, well, did you watch the movie? I feel like is the answer. And I don't know, does Max even have the movie on at this point? Because like this trends. I saw this on. I mean, they're pushing Beetlejuice on me. They're pushing Twister on me. I feel like if you have City of God on Max, it should be like up in the featured section, because if you want people to watch the series, they have to have a point of reference for the original film. This is the thing that's so weird that the studios don't understand about doing sequels and franchises, and especially with audio description. One of the reasons I keep reviewing things, like I reviewed Twister, because Max was like, watch Twister, because Twister's is in theaters. It's like, you didn't put fucking audio description on this. What new audience are you bringing in here? Not a blind one, because nobody can watch this film because it doesn't have any audio description. So luckily this does, which is shocking. I was totally ready for this to not have audio description, and for them to just do maybe like Spanish audio description or Portuguese audio description, and be like, well, this is for Latinos, you know, this is, this is not for the Caucasian audience. And I'd have been fine with that. I'd have been like, cool, it's not for me. All right, fine. It's a show. It is on HBO Latino. I am not Latino, so fine. Cool. Uh, Not everything needs to be made for me, but they went ahead and made an audio description track that makes it accessible for people who only speak English. Which means it has dubbing. I have to say this is one of the better dubbing casts that I've heard in a long time, where they actually feel like they went out and found actors and tried to do some sort of solid casting here. I'm not going to say it sounds like it's the most Latinx cast that I've ever heard in my life, but I also don't want to get in too much into the sounds like character. And I just want to say there's some of it here, sort of like there is in Pachenko. So I go ahead and gave Pachenko a thumbs up because the acting in that is pretty good, especially compared to a lot of other dubbing. And also you can hear that there is at least some representation, and there is at least some representation also in City of God, The Fight Rages On. So it's not like it doesn't sound like some of these casts are just, I think I said for Apple's Women in Blues, I was like, this sounds like the cast of Real Housewives is doing the narration for this show. It's like, it doesn't sound remotely culturally appropriate for this at all. And I don't like the idea of getting in there and just generically whitewashing everything and just being like, well, so what it means to localize is it means to hire a whole bunch of people who sound completely inappropriate for the roles in which they're narrating. Great. People need to learn to say, like, no to jobs. That's what really we need to be like, I don't know how hard that is, because if somebody was like, yo, man, we want you to play Muhammad Ali, I'd be like, the fuck for? No, I'm not doing that. Like, I just feel like, or like, oh, he's blind. He'd be a great Ray Charles. I'd be like, no, I wouldn't. I'm not black. Like, what is your problem? Like, well, you're just dubbing Ray Charles. I'd be like, why am I dubbing Ray Charles? Like, I need more questions. I don't know. But just, like, does anybody just go like, why am I doing this character? What is this? And just, I don't know, say no to it. Just be like, that's like the song in Hamilton. It's like, we can all enjoy it. Sure, absolutely. And I love that. I love that for all of us because it expands our cultural identities. We're able to see things from other people's perspectives. I love that part. It doesn't mean that we need to take their perspectives. That's not what that means. So, audio description here has the most hilarious moment I think I've ever had an audio description. There's a song that is so sexually explicit. It is so funny. It's like, I can't remember the tune of it. Like, it's but it's obviously like Brazilian pop, hip hop, rap. I don't know what to call it, but it's something. And it's playing it's sort of like in the background. I think there's a storyline about this mob boss that's like throwing a party for his niece or daughter or something. Sort of like a quinceañera a little bit, but I don't think they ever used the term quinceañera. I get a vibe though. That's kind of what it was like. So I think she's up on stage and she's singing a song, but it's like coming through over the thing, and people are doing other things. So the audio description narrator is like, well, this song is in another language, so I should interpret the lyrics. So what you have in the background is you have somebody who's like singing the song, and it has like actually, like pitches, right? And then you have like the audio description narrator who's forced to say things like, I'm gonna ride it hard, gonna make you my pussy, gonna make you my pussy, ride it hard, gonna make you my pussy. And it's just like, I'm just like, what the fuck is this? I was dying, dude. I was just like, this is the weirdest use of audio description I think I've ever heard in my life. It's a song. There are plenty of songs that we've listened to as English speakers that have never been translated for us. And we sing them. Think about it. Bésame, bésame mucho. Nobody comes along after me and goes, kiss me, kiss me more. Like, it's not. I don't know that we needed the song translated. I just don't think that was a thing. But it's so funny because the narrator is just doing their job. They're just kind of flat narrating. It's not like she got up in there and started singing it too to make it more interesting, because that would also have been really weird. Um, but when I go into like life choices, I'm like, I would not have chosen this. I would have just been like, we can skip the song. It's a song, and we listen to music in other languages all the time. You know, I mean, K-pop was a big thing, and they weren't all singing in English right away. So there are plenty of people who listen to like K-pop, and I don't think they know what those people are singing all the time. They're like, yeah, this sounds cool. I love it. Great. You know, I think we listen to music in other languages, is what I'm saying. Like, I think this is a thing. Especially classically, we listen to a whole bunch of opera and stuff in other languages, and we don't always understand what it is that they're saying, but you just kind of, you can get it sort of contextually from like the vibe and the way the actor is portraying the song. And sometimes it's just about like the beauty of the music itself. Not that this is a pretty song, it's shitty hip hop, but so weird. And I think it is now the most hilarious moment I've had in audio description. I'm not gonna say it's the worst moment in audio description. I just want to say it's the most hilarious moment in audio description. I love the commitment to it. I love that they went for it. It didn't work for me, but I love that you tried, Zoo Digital. I really love that you tried, that you were like, you know what we need to do? We need to audio describe this song while it's happening. I'm gonna write it, gonna make it my pussy. I was just like, oh my God. So I don't think anybody needs this show. It's okay. It's not terrible. But I just, like, I don't know that I want to watch more episodes of this. um, which is sad, because I want to support international content. I want to get more English audio description on this, but I was listening to the show and I was like, I don't know that this needs to exist. And I don't know that I don't want to like feel like I don't want to be guilt tripped into watching this just simply because I'm like, oh my God, it's international, it has audio description. I've seen too many movies because of that reason, where it's like, well, Netflix put audio description on this international film that I'm not interested in at all, but if I don't watch it, they may never put audio description on anything again, and I'm already pissed off because I can't fucking watch Roma, you know? So anyway, the episode ends on a big moment, at least. So if you're looking for cliffhangers, cool. You do you, bro. It ends on a big moment. My favorite part of the thing is actually that once the episode ends, it stays on, and then it starts going through the characters. So it starts off by showing you Rocket now and then Rocket then. So that way, I know it's more effective for like visual audiences, but I thought it was a great choice regardless for anybody. Obviously for visual audiences, it's like, wow, that was what you looked like 20 years ago, and that's what you look like now. And I think it's also going to reveal who didn't return and who's been recast. But go for it. Like, if you want to hang yourself out to dry on those moments, then do it. But yeah, I just thought it was really interesting. So that was a solid choice. This show's just kind of like unnecessary. It's not really bad, it's just kind of unnecessary. So I'm gonna give City of God, The Fight Rages On, a C+. I want to like it, but at the same time, I don't know why this is what it is. And I don't know why we couldn't have just made a show with similar themes and just dropped City of God and called it something else. You know what I'm saying? Like, is this plot so uniquely tied to City of God that you couldn't have told virtually the same story, you know, with a couple changes to kind of make it its own thing? And then would that have flopped because it didn't have City of God? Is City of God such a franchise that you have to put a film in front of it in order to? Are we gonna get like Cinema Paradiso? The movie continues, like. I hope not. So, anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.